What's up everybody, SuperX fan here from Mustang Weekly Update number 45 on this Friday. So, what's new with the Mustang? Well, nothing. So, unfortunately, the person that was going to be installing my springs and sway bars that I talked about last week, they ended up getting injured just minorly, and so didn't work out. We weren't able to put the stuff on this week, so he should be up and running again here in the next couple of days. So I'm hoping either the end of this week or sometime next week for the springs and sway bars to be installed. Another part that's going to be hopefully coming next week is something that I can install myself. So I got yet another mod that I'll be putting on the car, and I'm very excited for this other mod as well. And I'm going to hold off until I actually get it shipped to me. I always like, making sure I actually have the stuff before I announce it, but should be very exciting for that as well. Other things, I'm filming this video on a Wednesday. Normally I film them on Thursday and upload them on Friday, of course, but I had to film this one day early for a very good reason. That is that Fiat Chrysler Group has invited me to my first media press drive event, where I'll be going down to West Virginia for the day tomorrow, and they have all their new 2016 models there that they're going to be showing off, and we'll be able to do drives of them as well as some other cool stuff. And I may be filming a vlog too of just my experiences, as well as either review videos if time allows, or just a bunch of quick drive videos of all the cars available to drive there. I'll pick the ones that I think you guys would enjoy the most and drive those. But should be a great day nonetheless. They have a lot of cool things in store, I think, and should be very exciting. So, but that's why if there's stuff that was released on Thursday and you're watching this on a Friday, it's because I'm filming this on a Wednesday and I can't see into the future. So yeah, but anyway, that's it for all the updates on the Mustang though. So I'll send it back to me at the news desk for this week's news. Right, so for this week's news, the first thing is a very exciting story. Just last week I talked about how Mazda, they always say they're never going to do a new RX-7 or anything, but this past week there was a story saying that, their engineers are working very excitingly on a new rotary, or an improved version of the old rotary, and that's all we knew. We didn't know what the rotary engine was for, but now we may have a little bit more of an indication here, because the Tokyo Auto Salon is coming up here in the next couple of months, and Mazda appears to be working on a new sports car. Now, this is just a concept. It could just be a Vision Gran Turismo, or it could be just something for fun. I don't know. But what we're looking at is just this one little teaser of a silhouette, and it looks like a beautiful combination of like an F-Type and a Mercedes-AMG GT. But if you look at those taillights really closely, it really has a similar back end and taillights similar to the older RX-7s, especially some of the aftermarket stuff that we've seen for the RX-7s. So, but in that, and you have the long front hood there that you can see, this is a really striking car, clearly a coupe, and I don't know what to think of this. It really has RX-7 proportions to me. It really does. I would expect an RX-8 to look a little more practical if they're going to, resurrect that car. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, but the fact that Moss is even putting in the bother to make a concept is very, very promising. And maybe they see Toyota getting back into the ring with the new Supra here in the next couple of years, and they want to be in on it a little bit. I don't know, but that is very exciting. It could also be a shooting brake version of the Miata. That's something else that some people have been talking about, and that's something we've been hearing, is that Mazda was going to be doing an actual coupe version of the Miata instead of just the retractable hardtop they've done in the past. So that could also be what this is, but the taillights are not like the other Miatas that we have out currently. So I really do not know. I'm wanting to think it's an RX-7, but we'll have to just wait and see. But I'll keep you guys posted, of course, for any more news in regards to that. Something else that was very exciting that was shown this past week was the Fiat 124 was spied completely undisguised. Apparently they were doing like a photo shoot for the upcoming launch of this car that's going to be happening at the LA Auto Show in November, and it looks pretty good. So again, this is based on the Miata, and as you can see, it clearly just has a different nose and a different back end. The back end actually looks really good, kind of reminds me of a Maserati or something. Very nice, back end. The interior is identical to the Miata, it seems, aside from having a big Fiat logo on the steering wheel, which is okay because the new Miata's interior is spectacular, so I'm glad they left that unchanged. Mazda does interiors better than Fiat does, so that's great to see. The front end, though. The front end, I don't know. I was hearing originally it would have round headlamps, and these look somewhat round, but they look kind of funky. It almost looks like a Dodge Dart front end just smeared onto the front of a Miata. I'm not sure I'm in love with that front end, but we only really have these side angle shots, so we don't have a good clear front end shot of what it's actually going to look like, but you can tell it has a more accentuated nose that has potential. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting a vibe of a Dodge Dart mixed with like a R56 Mini Cooper S, like the one I own. That's kind of what that front end reminds me of, which isn't necessarily a good thing, so I'm hoping that front end looks better in the actual pictures than these spy shots. But cool to see that. And remember, this is going to be, in my opinion, probably going to be a little bit better than the Miata in just the fact that even though it's a cosmetic restyling, it has a different engine than the Miata. So the Miata, 155 horsepower. The base engine, is going to be the engine out of the Fiat 500 Abarth, which is a 1.4 liter turbo that'll do like around 170 horsepower, which is already an upgrade. But they're saying that's still also going to have for an Abarth version the 1.75 liter turbo engine and the DCT transmission from the Alfa Romeo 4C. Hopefully that faster Abarth version also comes with a manual option. This car was in these pictures is an automatic, but we know that the base 124 Fiat is going to have a manual. Hopefully the Abarth does as well. But anyway, that Alfa Romeo 4C engine puts out 240 horsepower in a Miata. Would be flipping spectacular. So hopefully that actually happens, especially with a manual. But no word as to when the Abarth version is coming out, but we will see the regular Fiat 124 here at the LA Auto Show in November. So very excited to see more of that car. A car that was completely revealed just recently here this past week was the Tesla Model X, which we already knew about. We knew they were making them, and we knew that how it would look based on the Detroit 2012 Auto Show, which was many years ago, and they said it would be available in 2 years. Took more like 3, but it's now here. It has those very cool Falcon doors they demonstrated on stage to be able to open up even in tight parking spaces, which is very impressive. It has sensors and the doors open differently depending on what's around it, which is very cool. It also has some unique features. It has like this bio-weapon defense mode. So it has, one of the big selling features of this car is it has an epic air cleaning system, and so kind of a strange thing to even develop, but this car will filter the cabin air so well that if you are in an apocalyptic situation where the air outside is dangerous to breathe in, this will purify for you so that you can just continue to drive around in your electric car whenever the end of the world is happening. Very interesting to see that. It's also an extremely safe car. They said it got 5 stars in every crash test category, and it's the first SUV to do that. They said it's less likely to roll over because there's no engine in the front and the batteries are all on the floor. And, so it's going to be good. It's got 3 rows of seats, so it's a little more practical than a Model S for those that have lots of kids to carry around and things like that. And so the thing is, though, the version that's available right now is $132,000. Now that's a fully loaded, like top of the line. The only thing it doesn't have is ludicrous mode, which is an extra $10,000 if you want that. But that comes with the autopilot that allows it to drive itself in many situations and things like that. The range is 257 miles, which is very good. There will be cheaper versions down the road, and those will be, they said, $5,000 over a comparable Model S. So it shouldn't be, astronomical prices once they actually start building the normal ones for, the people that aren't the first on the list. And so cool to see that. It would be very interesting to see how those sell, but my guess is they will sell very well. Other SUV news is the new BMW X4 M40i leaked out ahead of the LA Auto Show as well. And that is, a very sweet car, of course, that's going to have 60 extra horsepower over the xDrive 35i model. So you're looking at 360 horsepower and should be good. Now, this isn't a full-blown M car. This is just like a half M, I guess you can say. It's got a little bit better performance, but not a full-blown M model. And, it's going to be still a pretty good performer, 155 mile per hour top speed, all that good stuff. And, looks pretty good. So I think we'll be seeing this officially at the LA Auto Show. But again, we have all the official pictures here already. And yeah, so interesting to see how that sells. Speaking of SUVs, again, continuing with this theme, it seems like every week I talk about more and more SUVs because that's all people are interested in these days, at least in the mass market. Anyway, Land Rover is announcing some plans here, not officially, but their SVO division that makes all the high-end and specialty Land Rovers. They're planning on doing an ultra-luxurious version of the Range Rover that's going to be around $250,000. So right now, you can get a regular Range Rover for, right around $100,000, and you can tailor it as much as you want, up to around $200,000 for a fully loaded autobiography version. But, with the Bentley SUV and Rolls-Royce having an SUV coming out soon, and Maybach as well, Land Rover doesn't want to lose customers to these other brands. So they're going to plan an ultra-luxurious version. They haven't said how it's going to, warrant the extra price tag, but they said that it's, they have a few tricks up their sleeve that'll be very impressive. So we'll just have to wait and see what those tricks are, but interesting to see that. And an interesting little report here, the Scion XB, which we know is already going to die. This is the last model year for it, and they're not doing any more. I think 2015 is it. But anyway, there's one more special edition here they're making just to end it with 686 units of this 686 Parkland edition version of the Scion here, and it comes only in this brown color that I don't think really does the car any favors. It has a interesting camouflage-inspired interior with zippers in the seats for little pockets and things like that. And it's only available with an automatic transmission. It's $20,000, like as if anyone's going to even buy one. But I think they'll be lucky if they sell all 686. But one final special edition here for the XB for those diehards that really do love them still. And a couple stories from Ford this week. The first is a report saying that, especially over in Europe, but here in America as well, there's more and more performance SUVs and these sporty crossovers and things like that. And so Ford is considering an Escape ST. And over in the UK, it's known as the Kuga. And I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. They're considering also a super luxurious version and an ST version. And so who knows if they'll actually make this, if it'll come to America. I don't know, but the report is just that they're looking into it. And so hopefully, the top of the line Ford Escape right now has 240 horsepower. My guess is that they would just toss in the same engine out of the Mustang EcoBoost, give it 310 horsepower. That's a big, huge jump. Very easy to do. And you maybe go to manual transmission, some more aggressive body styling, and they'll be good to go. But it'll be interesting to see, because I don't really see too many sporty people in Escapes. It's kind of just a regular, soccer practice kind of vehicle, I guess. But who knows, maybe an ST version would really jazz it up. We know we will be getting an ST version of the Fusion here in the next year or so, probably. So maybe they'll do the Escape too. Other Ford news is there was new spy shots here of the new Expedition, which obviously is going to be borrowing heavily from the F-150, which is what it's based on, so that totally makes sense. It says it's due to come out in 2017 as a 2018 model, and that the new Lincoln Navigator, it's going to be a completely new version, will also be debuting alongside it. And, it looks exactly, you can only do so much with an Expedition. It looks like a F-150 in an SUV form. And that's just fine for what people that buy these are looking for. So great to see that. Another interesting thing this past week is Porsche officially unveiled the 911 GTS Rennsport Reunion Edition. Now this is just to celebrate the fans of the car, and it's got the same mechanicals as the regular 911 GTS. And it's curious, they already revealed the new 911, but this is based on the first version of the 991 here, so the current model year. And that's interesting to see that it's, the old model. But looks great. They're only making 25 of them, so I think it's kind of a final hurrah to the regular GTS here as we know it. And so very cool to be honoring the fans in that way. Some news from Bentley this week, a couple of different things. First is that the awesome Speed 6 concept that we saw at Geneva this past winter, they're saying that's still on the table. It's still a possibility. It could come out around 2020. They said next year is when they'll vote on whether or not they're going to greenlight the car and actually produce it. But I think it'd be something that they said that all the customers are just build it. Like everyone just wants them to do it. Don't think about it too much. Just go for it. And I agree. But they're also considering making a smaller SUV, which would be based on the Audi Q5. And considering the Bentayga is probably going to be a pretty big hit, they may go for that just because that's what all the accountants would tell them to do. Obviously, that's going to be more profitable to make a smaller SUV than to do a new sports car, but, you know, the enthusiasts, we all like to see the sports cars. Hopefully they end up doing both or something. But the other news that's going to be coming sooner than 2020 is the Bentley Mulsanne Grand Convertible, which is due in 2017. It was introduced to us last year at the LA Auto Show, and the production version will be coming out, you know, by early 2017 is what we're hearing. Now, we also are hearing that there's going to be a restyling for the Mulsanne. It's going to have a more upright grille, which, I mean, the current grille is pretty upright already, but that's what they said. They said new headlights. They said that there would be a 3-brick front air dam, which is to accentuate the uprightness of the grille. Interesting note. And so should be a good car. They said it's going to be more daring in design than the previous Bentley. So maybe a little less classic looking, a little more aggressive and artistic. Who knows what they end up doing, but we'll see that in 2017. So it's interesting to see that. Some cheaper convertible news is Buick officially priced the Cascada, which will be coming out here in the very early spring, very early 2016, and it's going to start at $33,990, and that's including destination. And so, you know, it's a pretty good price considering they're comparing it to the Audi A3 convertible, and that's a $37,000 car. So this is quite a good amount cheaper, and you also get a more powerful engine. This is going to have the 200 horsepower engine, and it also is going to have 20-inch wheels standard. Navigation, heated front seats are standard. They're 8-way power seats. So, you know, GM they really give you a good value for your money, and so obviously it's going to have a whole lot more equipment than a Audi A3 that's $4,000 more. So great to see that. It's still a little expensive for the rental fleets and stuff like that. You know, the Chrysler 200 convertible isn't around anymore, so this would have been a nice replacement for that if they would have had a stripped out version, maybe come in under 30,000 bucks or something. But the 200S convertible that was around in 2014, that was right around $33,000 as well. That had a V6 and stuff though, but, you know, it had terrible fuel economy too. So this could serve as a replacement for those that want, you know, a cheaper domestic convertible but don't want to buy a Mustang or Camaro. And so yeah, cool to see that. And the last story for this week is Nissan. There's a report here saying that they could upgrade the current GTR again, because the thing is, they said that there'll be a fully new R36 or whatever GTR coming in 2018. That's 3 years away, and in the meantime, they don't want the remaining R35 GTRs to just sit around on dealer lots, because you already have the Nismo version, which is $150,000, top of the line. But the Nissan engineers said there's a lot more they can do with the current GTR. And I don't know what more you can really do to the car. I mean, obviously, they're capable of 1,000+ horsepower, but you're not going to put that in a production car. So I don't know if they're just going to do another power bump or a slight restyling to maybe hint at the next version of the GTR. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see what they try and do to it. It might just be special editions, like how, you know, Lamborghini and Scion and people like that love doing a million special editions for the last few years to milk as much money out of the current generation as possible. We'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening there. But, yeah, so interesting times. But anyway, so that's it for all the news this week, guys. So send it back to me in the car.
Alright, so I'll leave you guys with a nice little acceleration here, like I always do. Okay, I got some traffic, so I can't go too crazy today. But yeah, it's always fun, and it's just gonna get more fun, more and more mods. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week. Take care.